One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Oh, that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com. One of our favorite sponsors is back.
We
did it.
The fire.
We did start the fire.
It was always burning since the world
wasn't
was
always.
turning.
No. Mm-mm.
Do you know all the lyrics to that song?
Wasn't always
No, but I would
going.
love to learn that.
Hey now, No Simple Road family. Welcome back to the No Simple Road Weekly Rewind. Produced in collaboration with the Edible Beats.
Edible Beats.
Out of Denver, Colorado. If you don't know what the Edible Beats is by now, you have been listening to the Weekly Rewind.
Or you haven't been taking our advice and going to the website, ediblebeats.com, and checking out their fantastic restaurants, their mission statement, all the people involved, the menus, all that.
Love, attention, intention.
Detail.
Breaking news. As of the recording of this, which is 3:30 p.m. on the 23rd of July, there are only 50 tickets left for our appearance at Ophelia's Electric Soapbox in Denver, Colorado on August 30th to start your Dick's Weekend.
Wednesday, August 30th.
We are appearing live with Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast at Ophelia's Electric Soapbox in Denver, Colorado, and you should go to www.nosimpleroad.com or the Ophelia's website and get yourself some tickets right now, because if you're one of those people that like,
waits.
I'll wait, and then when I get
it
to
at the door.
Denver, I'll just go to Ophelia's and buy tickets. You, whoever you are going to be shut out and stand outside with your
They're going to be like,
finger in the air.
hey, can I see your ticket, please? You're like, actually, I'd like to purchase one. And
They're
then
gonna
they're going to be like,
oh, you have to go away now.
I'm sorry. You can't do
You have
that
to
here.
go
And then you're going to miss out on us and Andy Frasco and mystery guests, awesome food.
I can for sure, positively 100% with 100% assurance say who our guest is going to be now.
We're not going to tell, though. It's still a secret, though.
Oh, is it?
I think we should
Let them get that.
Too early.
Yeah,
Too
it's
early.
Thank you, Apple.
Yeah, too
One,
early.
it's too early. If we decide we should only say it like 1 week before, or not even. You know what, you guys?
Okay, it rhymes with... No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you dare.
I can't. I won't.
Plus, Andy's
It
got a
rhymes
secret
with
guest.
something.
Andy's got a
does.
secret guest, and he's not saying, and I don't think that we should either. We both have tricks up our sleeves, and we should leave it there.
I'll give you all a
Full of
hint that
mystery.
won't give you any of it. If you were to try and rhyme their name, you would have to make up a word. Yep.
Okay.
All right. right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sitting in the studio with us today on this beautiful, lovely Sunday evening is Sydney Wynn from Wynn.
Sydney Schaefer, our daughter.
That's right.
AKA.
Yeah.
AKA.
I have like 7 names, so
You should.
At
the
Cideroni.
pick the one you want.
I kind of like Wynn. We should talk about Wynn because you and Adam are about to go have this incredible experience that you've never had before making music. So why don't you talk
I know,
about
it's
that?
very exciting. Well, we haven't had it on this level where we're going to a producer to finish an EP. We've worked with producers that are our friends, and it's been very casual and fun. But this is a little bit of a step up.
This is like serious business.
I'm sure it's still going to be fun. Probably be more fun, but yeah. It's in collaboration with Sego, who you've interviewed.
We love
Yeah.
Sego. Sego
before.
sucks.
Yeah. And they're sweethearts and we love them, and they're creative geniuses, and they bring out our genius. So I'm really excited. And yeah.
That's going to be dope. So
It'll be
you're
really
hitting the
fun.
studio.
Is
And-
this going to be performing like in front of a bigger crowd than you have before? And
No,
stuff?
it's
Oh
your
no, we're
performance.
recording. We're fully finishing
They're making music.
Oh,
Our-
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
our
Come on,
recorded
Apple.
songs.
Get on the bus, dude.
What she'd mentioned yesterday about
that'll
you had a
happen.
DJing thing coming up too.
Yeah, Wynn
mixed them up.
is doing a lot of DJing.
Why don't you
in
tell
LA
them
right
what Wynn
now.
and Wynn is? Well, tell our audience who and what Wynn are.
Wynn
Is
Wynn is our
Is our. Is
names.
It's a
Adam
word.
Wynn and Sydney Wynn, and we're the Wynns. And soon one of us is going to get kicked out. We don't know who yet, but Jasper will take over one of our spots because you can't have Wynn. But Jasper is currently auditioning to replace
I think you
one of
should
us.
like have Wynn all day. Like
Or
in
Win-
caps.
What would it be? It'd be Win cubed.
Wynn Cubed
Wynn
probably
Cubed.
is. Yeah.
I like that.
But it's our little music project. We also do DJing. It's very grounded in like dance, but with other
Okay. So
little
it's not EDM.
no, I would say it's like, if anything, like 90s house dance inspired. And then we are also inspired by other genres,
Okay.
whether that be hip hop or punk or whatever.
Whatever's clever.
Yeah. But yeah.
Is completely a selfish question.
Yeah.
Well, when we talked about this before, Jasper was supposed to come here to hang out with us while you guys are there. That's still happening, right?
No.
No, he's going to Florida.
What?
He's going to the other side of the country.
Aw.
Yeah.
All right, show's over, everybody. I'm gonna go sulk.
No, I know. Everyone wants him. We got to share. That's really
Everybody
what
does want him.
Yes.
He's very
yeah.
popular.
He's a hot commodity.
That's all right. I ordered myself a Jasper for Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
It's happening.
I did.
That is happening.
So what is the hardest part about creating the music that you create with Win?
The hardest part for me is that don't think I'm a musician. I'm a performer. So I don't know technical words, but then I do. Like it's so funny. We were listening to a song I was just recording with this new microphone, and I was like, this is not it. I was like, everything sounds super crushed, and I don't even know that's a
a
word to
thing.
describe. And I was like, it sounds crushed and far away, and I'm like trying to explain what I'm hearing, and he was like, yeah, it's crushed. And I was like, oh. And then he was like going, and I was seeing that was like even a word that was on the whatever we're using, Ableton or whatever. And I'm like, that's so funny. Like, I don't know the vocabulary, but I understand it. And I've known music my whole life. But I guess the hardest thing is just wanting to bring an aspect of newness and freshness while still respecting the fact that this is a full-on craft, and bringing those two together, marrying the two. Because there are some people, and I've heard Spencer and Adam say this, they're like, they're the best musicians, but then they kind of get themselves locked in a box because they know so much. And so when you come in fresh and you're like, oh, let's do this. And you're like, well, that you're not supposed to, but you do it. It sounds cool. That's what I'm trying to do, that like have a good balance of coming up with cool ideas that are just me, while also giving a lot of respect to the fact that this is a very important craft that people have spent decades, these people that we're working with, decades learning about.
So you're going into the studio next month?
Yeah, like mid-August.
Fun.
With Mr. Tape. He's the producer that we're working with.
Who is it?
Mr. Tape.
Okay. Is there anything that we would know that he's produced?
He's worked with Cascade quite a bit, and he knows dance music. He knows maybe a little bit more of the EDM side, but he has heard our stuff. He understands, and he's stoked. He's like, I love this aspect. Something like Sego, but a little bit more dancey, and also having that feminine touch, which they did with Tandang, which I love.
Yeah, Tandang's
it's rad when you hear that female vocal, like getting it. Like that's basically what we're trying to do. Add a little bit of like the femininity, but also I bring a little bit of a masculine edge with the femininity too. Like we have plans for music videos that are super fun, but
see with you, Sid, you don't just think about the music. You're thinking about the entire thing from start to finish.
What you're going to wear while you're performing it.
Absolutely.
Not all creators are like that. Some are, like you were saying, some are musicians and they're a producer. They're the wardrobe, they're stylists. Like you were talking about, you don't know a lot about music, but you've been around it so much, and you do.
Well, that's the other thing too. I'll be in the studio with them and I'm like, this isn't something I want to dance to. And I'm the only one. I'm like, I can look at all of you and say, I'm the only one that full on dance in this room. So if this is something I don't want to dance to, coming from a dancer's perspective,
you want to put it out.
Yeah, like add like a 808 beat, put it back in there, like add another little thing that you can do like a little move to. Like that's also where I'm trying to like be easier to understand on like all the different aspects, a performer's aspect, someone who's actually dancing to the music, who would listen to it. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to master right now.
Okay.
I think I'm doing good.
So obviously you're my daughter and I've known you your whole life.
Obviously
basically.
Your name is Sydney.
But
state the obvious.
What's the most difficult part about being a mom and trying to be a creative at the same time?
I think it's giving yourself time in general. Like in so many ways, things that I'm doing now, like I have to work to put the time in. And then when I really look at it, I'm like, I could be doing this or I could be doing that. Or if I'm really getting critical and a little dark, I'm like, well, Jasper, I could be putting time in for Jasper. Like, why shouldn't he be able to learn a skill and la-di-da-da? But I'm also like, but at the same time, I had him young. So it's prioritizing. Prioritizing is like the main thing that's hard, but it's not impossible. It's like,
it's just a challenge.
It's a challenge. It's like the biggest challenge. But it's also sweet because he finds an interest in what we're doing. So
He's
very adaptable.
Well, not just that, but he's look, kids are a product of their environment as much as they are a product of genetics, and like what's around a child is what they're gonna know and like when they're young. You know, when we become a teenager, that's different. Then you start to rebel and whatever. But for right now, he likes what you like because you like it, and he wants to make you happy as a kid. You know what I mean? So now is the time to instill all the musical things that you want for him.
Yeah.
Because he'll receive it right now instead of being like, Mom fucking told me to do this. I don't want to fucking practice my piano. Like, you know,
we just had on this East Nash Grash, and both of the guys, East Nash.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, East Nash Grass band, and we had Corey and Harry on, and they both grew up from musical families, and one of them was 7 years old when they started playing banjo, and the other one was like 10 years old when he realized how much he loved playing the mandolin.
Yeah,
that's such a head start, but also like what Dad was saying, introducing that they like all their siblings, their mother, their father, all played, so it was so normal,
ubiquitous in the family.
Well, absolutely. What's the percentage of they really interested? versus they're trying to impress or make their parents
or versus
proud,
like
or their
this is
family
just
proud.
what we do.
Or see, that's the thing where I'm like, I don't want to force anything. I want it to be around.
It doesn't seem like it's forced though, because like
No.
we were talking about, he already has an ear for it, and he likes
Absolutely.
his songs, and he
has
what was the
preference.
one you're talking about, right? He's like, I don't like that about being alone.
Well, there was
And
a
he's like, "You
lyric,
won't be
yeah.
alone."
In a win-win song.
Yeah, there's
really
a lyric
listens.
that he was upset about. He said we need to rewrite it because because it's
He's the
don't
producer.
leave me alone tonight. I don't want to be alone tonight. And he's like, he honestly was offended by it. He was like, "You're not alone.
Not on my watch,
He's like,
Mom.
You don't have to be alone. I'll be with you that night.
Oh.
Like whatever night you're talking about, I'll be with you." And it is absolutely true. And
Sweet
it's
little turkey.
And that's amazing. I mean, he is truly listening.
Yeah.
to
I
say
think this is a
something like
great
that. Like,
opportunity to maybe correct, or not even correct, because I don't think it was broken, but like update kind of how you were raised, in the sense like you and Simon both kind of like, which was a good critique, me and Dad, as far as like being kind of like more structured or more serious or disciplined, and like kind of encouraging you.
yeah.
This is an excellent opportunity to do that with your son in a way that is not pushy, but definitely structured.
Well, in answering to your question too, Sid, I think as far as like how much of it is you pressuring him and how much is it him wanting to do it, 50-50 right now.
Mm-hmm.
He wants your approval. So
Yeah.
he's going to like the stuff that you like and do the stuff that you do. He's a little kid, and when we're little, especially little boys, we want mom's love like crazy.
Yeah.
And that approval is everything
Yeah, it is.
at that age. And so you're kind of like gaming the system by instilling it in him now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes something that he loves later on. You're introducing it to him when he's receptive to the implant.
Yeah. I'm just really, I'm a weird projector where I'm like, because that's the only thing I could really do is compare your parenting to
Right.
mine.
Yeah, of course.
And so I think, oh, what's the pushback or what's the rebellion that's going to happen? And I don't want that to happen, which you can't even stop.
Good luck.
I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm thinking, but I'm trying to be like, how can I make sure he doesn't rebel in the way I don't want him to? And I'm like, well, I don't think I ever rebelled against you, but there was like a stillness that I had while you were moving through your broadening of your mind. And I was like, good for them. Like really, truly happy for them. But I think that was a time where I was supposed to be doing that, quote unquote, supposed to be doing that as a teenager, like trying shit. And I was just like, nah. And in my head, I'm like, wow, what if things really start to pick up musically, and not crazily, but just where we're doing it often and we're performing a bunch, and he starts to get into the age where he's like,
I'll
what I
tell you
mean?
right now, and this isn't like me putting anything on you. This is just the way it is. However you don't want it to happen is how it's going to go down, baby.
okay.
Like,
All right.
so just let it go now and be okay with it, because however you want it to happen is it's not.
It's the
gonna happen
lesson
like
you need
that.
to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because rebellion is a form of understanding yourself. It's like they're standing up for themselves when you're rebelling. It's like, I want to do this, whatever quote unquote this is. And this is maybe something that's been not exposed, they haven't been exposed to, or something that they weren't able to do, so like the more open you can be with him, but also like keeping in line with that structure. I think that like, I don't know, you and Simon both didn't really rebel. It wasn't like you guys were so easy or so hard.
No,
it was just
like a
kind of
light
seamless.
version. It was a very light version, if anything.
Yeah.
And I don't like, I'll talk to people openly and they're like, oh my God, you've been best friends with your family forever. And I was like, there's probably 6 months where I didn't like you, Mom, like in my entire life. And then me and Dad had one talk and we were like
One
best
beef.
friends after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what? Is that how it
Pretty damn
is?
good. Wow.
Like statistically, it basically never happened.
high five, baby.
Yeah,
yeah.
good job. Like,
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, our whole family is perfect, pretty much.
It really is.
Well-
And in our own way.
For us, it's perfect. It's not like
yeah.
everyone can look at us and be like, they're perfect.
Whatever
it's
the challenge is going to happen,
for us.
I'll be able to handle it.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that brings me to what kind of leads us to what I want to talk about today. Do you feel like psychedelics have played a big part in what we're talking about right now? About like our family dynamic?
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't think it's just that. I think it was more your openness and way that it held no fear in a way. I think that is actually what it truly was. I mean, there are some things that are probably so silly to you that really truly stuck out to me, but that painting that you did of Tom, like I loved it. And I'm an artist appreciator. Like I truly am. Whatever that is. Hold
on. I'm just going to tell everybody. So like, this is like back in the day we were living in Vegas and we had taken mushrooms. And it wasn't something we were doing all the time.
No.
And
you guys were fully experimenting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we like laid out a blanket outside by our pool and it was nighttime in the summer in Vegas and we were high as shit. I was puking in the grass and Mel laid out all her art supplies by the pool and had like a 24 by 36 canvas and was never painted a picture in her life.
Never.
And painted a portrait of our buddy that was with us that night. And it is the silliest, funniest, craziest looking painting
It's honestly
you've ever seen.
giving Picasso to me. To me. But I will say I haven't seen something like that since. Like I've definitely seen your art and it's cute and it's fun and it should be in all the children's books ever. But I like that was like mind-blowing to me. And then for me it also opened an aspect where I'm like, I think I'm really good at knowing like when an art is art versus art is to be sold or to be marketed. And I knew that was special. Like I knew it off the bat and I was 12?
That stuck out to you really?
For sure. Like something like that. And I remember because you guys, you didn't say it like you just said it now, but you weren't shy on why and how you made it.
Yes.
I knew and I could read between the lines that that's how you made it. You were under some type of influence and I was like, I loved it. I was like, I think that's great. That's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things that you've made. And so that for me, I was like super proud and I was like, that's cool. Like I was always just proud of you and with my friends too. Like I would be like, as I was your parents, I'm like, they're doing their thing.
Mom and dad
are like, they're
fully experimenting.
They're
being
experimenting.
Let's hear it for us. Once again.
Right on. Gosh, we should have Sydney on every week.
I know, shit.
No, and my friends were feeling the vibes, like for sure. There was a friend that it was like, I want to go over all the time. Like I want to be around your parents because they are cool, obviously, but they just like big kids.
We were growing up.
I want to be like that.
And you're doing that. You definitely are doing that with Jasper. I will commend you on that. I see how playful and like how involved you are with him. You're not like one of those parents that's like, shh, go lay down and go sit over there. You're super engaged. You treat him like a peer. You don't talk down to him.
He's a 50-50, my friend and my son. And I think that's what it comes down to.
Yep.
Like I see a lot of parents like, this is my son. And sometimes I don't even see that they're their friend, but he's like 50-50, someone I want to hang out with and someone that I need to take care of.
And he's actually cool.
That's it. That's like I want to be there. I want to hang out.
I think you and like Adam are creating the same thing that like they created, being around a lot during your childhood. When it was a party, it was a party environment, but it was a creative, fun party environment. It was like you said,
safe.
It didn't exclude kids or anything, and it didn't get too crazy. Like they're out of their mind. Somebody's naked jumping off the roof in the swimming pool. It was like fun, creative, and everybody was involved.
I don't remember the naked
it was
part.
open. No, that didn't happen. So I mean, that didn't happen.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't like over the top crazy parties. It was like experimenting and open,
playful,
and fun.
laughter.
But it was a little bit crazy because I remember, like having seances
we were doing a full OTO rituals
and I know
I don't necessarily remember that. I remember showing a little bit of interest in that and going to like the secret velvet curtains behind the psychic eye and exploring that a little bit. But I don't remember that fully going on in the house, which I think right now I'm saying that's good that you were able to like distinct like what we should be around and understand and know versus like something that you like kind of keep behind closed doors.
Yeah, we did have our own private shit.
We did, because a lot of times it wasn't hard for us. And this is what the greatest thing about being around family is that if we knew we had something coming up, we'd be like, Grammy, can you watch the kids? Oh, no, you can't. Okay, Mom, can you do it? Yep. Like there was always somebody safe to leave you with. And it was only for the duration of what we wanted to do. We weren't like trying to leave you guys for weekends or weeks or months off at a time. So like it was the same thing. We liked our kids and wanted to hang out, but we also were like exploring. And like, I think when we first started to explore psychically, or psychedelically, I should say, it was
maybe psychically
both.
too.
It was both. It was simultaneous, to be honest.
Well, I will say too is giving the backstory of why I think you guys started to experiment was like you guys working through marital issues.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And
so
100%.
So me knowing that and knowing that in middle school, which like leave it or take it, that's probably the most formative time of your entire
100. So I would say that with Simon too,
or adolescent years, whatever you want to say, is like high school. You're very selfish. You're not as much observing, and that's true. And I can say that for me, like, and I'm a full observer. Like I've always been a little bit shy and quiet. It's because I'm just taking information in. And in middle school, I was just like downloading all this shit, and I was like, oh God, like I'm seeing so much, and then seeing the transition into a problem or something that was like being fixed and not Band-Aid fixed, like a true fix.
Yeah.
That's probably what I think psychedelics taught me.
Wow.
After I've never even taken it, just witnessing what it could do.
Yes.
And I guess that's the changing of your mind.
No, you're 100% right, because without psychedelics and it's really without cannabis. Without cannabis, your dad and I don't know what could have repaired it at that point. I don't know what else besides another entity coming in to really like shake me up personally and both of us to where we can work through it instead of throw each other out.
Thank God I want to start growing weed.
Yeah, and that was like kind of like a point of contention, because I was like, dude, we have kids, we have this house, like you can't be doing that. I don't even smoke.
There's a story. I know. The funny thing is that you didn't even smoke, but one of the things is having someone sleep over, and like I was always like, oh, don't go in there, and they never even noticed that.
You wouldn't know it was there.
Like you literally walked by it, and I'm like, don't even look
at it
over there, because I knew.
It's my dad's basil plants.
You know, that is a really good point, Sydney, that it didn't allow us for a Band-Aid. The psychedelics made us have to confront what we were either hiding from each other, what we were fighting about, what we needed to grow past, whatever the issue was.
Anything that you guys resented from each other, it like brought you guys closer. And I think in a lot of ways it was just like something to feel safe too for Dad after going through all the stuff that he went through. I mean, I can assume that going into any psychedelic world after going through that and you never having that, you guys are kind of going there in the same boat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And new.
It was newness. And so I think that brought you guys together. Probably me and Simon were there definitely bringing you together.
Oh my gosh.
And that you guys felt safe to do it. Like that's, under all those circumstances, I can't see anything but good coming out of that.
Well, I saw, or actually I listened to a podcast the other day with Joe Rogan and
that guy you were telling me about.
I can't remember his name right now. Hang on a second, I'm gonna look it up.
Okay,
there's I can't continue without telling you that
you gotta know
the guy
name.
from Maps.
Yeah, and I can't remember his name. And
Okay,
anyway,
quote guy from Maps.
Yeah, and so they're talking about DMT specifically, and there's a study that happened not too long ago. I think we might have talked about this on the show actually. DMTX. experiments that are happening?
Maybe I don't remember.
Do you know
it, though.
about this?
No.
So they were like the Rick Strassman studies that happened a long time ago. He wrote that book, The Spirit Molecule. Mm-hmm. And they did like a double-blind study where participants were on opposite coasts, didn't know that they were in the study. Like they didn't know there was other people in the study. And they would give them an intravenous dose of dimethyltryptamine and then journal their experiences when they would come back. And what they found was, even though these people didn't know each other and didn't have any clue that there was anybody else in the study, that there was even another part of the study going on, they were reporting back similar experience and contact with similar entities and describing similar space. So fast forward to now, Rick Doblin is the guy's name that was on Joe Rogan.
Rick Doblin.
Yeah. And so they're doing this DMTX study now. They were like, that's great what they did before, Strassman did, but as you know from doing DMT, it's 10 minutes. It's fast. He was like, what if we could prolong the experience of like 3 hours of like continually giving them DMT over and over again and have them map the territory, so to speak, right?
Okay.
And they got into a discussion about like, if they think that is like a place,
okay,
or not,
Like a certain dimension.
right? Or
a location.
Probably.
Or if it's what's up, everybody? If you're like me and you're trying to do better for yourself and what you eat in this new year, I have something really cool for you. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals make eating better every day way easier. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You're going to have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, and more. And there's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that help make your weekly meal planning even more delicious. What are you waiting for? Sign up and save. They've done all the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. So here's what you got to do. Head to factormeals.com/NoSimpleRoad50 and use the code NoSimpleRoad50 to get 50% off your first box and 2 free wellness shots per box while subscription is active. That's code NoSimpleRoad50 at factormeals.com. Take all the guesswork out of trying to do the right thing for your body. Fuel up easy and fast. Go check out Factor. Chemicals in your brain creating stimuli that happens to be similar because we run on similar chemistry as human beings. And when you add that in, then it creates this reaction. Or what? I'm curious what you guys think that is. What is that a place? Is it another dimension? Are those entities? Are those thought form? What do you think that is when you break through on DMT?
I feel like it could be a blend of everything. It kind of reminds me of just when you go into your subconscious in general, whether that's like through sleep or meditation or daydreaming or whatever. But I think there are places, and I can do this, like go back to a certain dream, or there's some people that can do it stronger who full on have lives and families. And I think with the DMT experience, maybe it's because that is released in all humans and is it in all beings?
Yeah.
That's why it is somewhat singular, that you're experiencing something similar. I'd like to, in the experiment, were they all doing it at the same time? Was the room similar?
I think it was like, no, it wasn't like a bunch of people in a room all getting blasted off.
Yeah.
It was like one person at a time, and they would
Yeah.
facilitate that person's journey.
Because to think of the environment probably is so.
It's just
it could
headphones and
affect
an
you.
eye mask and an IV drip, and they
So
keep
they're
giving it
shut
to
out.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're it's inner space.
I mean, I think it's probably a dimension, and it's a place that exists.
A location.
That maybe it exists within certain humans' DNA, or maybe it actually does
Oh wow, I
exist
never thought about it like that.
somewhere else. But it is like, I mean, we can barely know that much about our own mind. So maybe there's just
Yeah.
like some back door that's always the same for a bunch of people. I don't know. Or maybe it's some galaxy thing. I think it could be all of it, honestly.
I mean, it seems like if people are reporting similar things, it's just like if you give everybody the same type of psychedelic, it's a similar type. Maybe the trip is different, but it's a similar type of experience. You feel weightless, or you feel, larger than life, or you start laughing, or whatever. Like, so it's got to be a chemical thing, but it's not merely that, because now you've taken a chemical to almost like take you to somewhere. It's like when you've taken a car to take you to the store. You've taken this chemical to take you to this location.
Okay, so you think it's a place?
I think that it's a place because even like I remember doing salvia, and there was like literally people. There was like dwarves, or like little old like
Munchkins.
What if it's
munchkin.
not a place, and what if it's just actually here, but with certain lenses removed?
Yes,
That's what that reminds me of.
Yes, because like it's like if you're colorblind, you can't see all the colors. Same thing. We don't see everything. So now when we take this chemical, maybe it makes our eyes see something, or our brain see something in a way that's covered all the time, but you just can't see it because you aren't at that.
Well, if that's the case,
Like Narnia,
right?
You know,
If that's the case, like I would imagine that that's covered for a reason, because
you can't be there all the
you can't
time.
do that. You can't exist in default reality
Can
and
you-
that at the same time.
Okay.
They're
Well, it's a
diametrically opposed.
reward. Like
Yes.
for death. Like it's a reward. Like you've
Wait a
done
minute.
this.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like a DMT experience. I mean, don't get me wrong. Give me all the stuff. I love it. But when I heard of the DMT pen, I was like, there's something about that makes me feel just a little bit of a way. No judgment at all. But for me, I wouldn't really want to do that, because it seems uber special knowing that is released, and that is something that exists within all of us, and that's something that's so ever present, and we know all of it right when we leave this earth. Like it's for a purpose. I think it's the reward. And for people who are on their deathbed and they finally have that moment where they're not scared to die, that's when they should get it. That's like their time.
Oh
And
my God, can you imagine?
they'll probably know all the things we're asking right now, because they actually get
I'd be
it.
like, yes, as a matter of fact, it is a place. It's
Yes.
164 Main Street.
What do you think? Albert?
Well, I think I have kind of a mix of all that from my experience and what you're talking about. Those like trials of a lot of people having the same similar experiences, is that it is a dimension between life and death, like almost like limbo between, and because you don't get to see. I feel we're not seeing the final place you're going to, but it's the way station on the way to there. Because every time I've seen it, I've felt and not actually seen like 3D crystal clear relatives that have passed, but they're there in that space, and it's comforting. And it makes you, when you come back, it makes you feel like you had some kind of a death a little bit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like going there. And I feel it is like a dimension between life and death, and we need, and that chemical, I mean, or not chemical, but that comes, I mean, it's natural. It comes from the root and stuff. It's another thing.
It's in everything.
That was
we
put on
naturally
this
have
planet
chemicals.
to facilitate that, and being able to go there for a little bit. And it's very interesting with these experiments that they're trying to find a way to extend that. That'd be awesome to be able to extend that trip, to be
That
able
is
to,
a crazy extension.
because we've all said you go there and you're just getting really comfortable and familiar and seeing things, and then you come back. I look
it starts to
forward to being
dissolve.
able to go there and stay a little longer, and like you said, kind of mapping it out a little. Like, oh, okay, I got to go past the this and see some more and get comfortable in it. But
Right.
I definitely think it is like another dimensional place between life and death.
Death is very closely tied to DMT.
I want to know what you mean by that, between life and death. Like,
It's
explain.
not of this earth.
Like when you're in a
This living
stupor.
body and being, and it's not full on death. It's like the way station between there, that kind of happy place going to death and leaving here. We get a glimpse of what's between the transition
To be honest,
of
I
going
think
there.
in like other drugs, that's you barely go there, and I think that's what a lot of people who tend to be drug addicts are searching for. Even that like feeling of like the womb and the mother, that's a between life and death. Like you're not alive fully yet. You are, but you're so close to the past. You're so close to whatever your life before was, your spirit or whatever. That's why kids,
wherever you came from or originated.
There is that in between, and
And DMT definitely is like for lack of a better, like super facilitator. That's why it's not that long of a journey. That's why it's interesting. Another try. Of course, as humans, we're going to try to figure out how we can stay there longer and everything.
well, they want to map the
But
territory.
how it was given to it was like you get a taste of this and a glimpse.
No
and
matter what it is, a location, if they're trying to create a map and there is a territory to be mapped, then there means that's a location.
And like Sid said, it's a definite connection to like it's in our DNA. It's a connection to our ancestors and everything too. Kind of like mushrooms and stuff too.
that's
in
the
us.
strange thing about the initial Strassman study and people coming back and reporting the same entities, right? Like describing the same thing being there, wherever
They live there.
is, that whatever, yeah, and
reside. It's like
I think maybe, do you know what cymatics is?
cymatics?
Mm-hmm.
No.
You've seen it before. Like they'll take a metal plate and they pour sand on the metal plate, and then they put different frequencies on the plate,
and creates the pattern.
and so a certain frequency will always make that shape,
Yes.
right? It makes that pattern. 134 megahertz makes 4 diamonds, and
Yes.
then okay. So a human being is a vibratory creature. We are alive because of electricity and energy, right? That's our brains are firing with electricity. We're vibrating at a certain frequency, right? And that gives shape to what's around us and in our brains and what we experience because of how we're vibrating. The thoughts that you have create your reality. I think that DMT is like a tuning fork.
like an equalizer.
A tuning fork vibrating at a different frequency that you're taking into your body that causes, because the first thing that I experienced with it is that noise that happens when you start to come on to the DMT, that like humming sound, the high pitched ring.
I don't know if I remember that.
It feels like
I don't
it
remember
feels
that.
like everything is speeding up so fast that it's breaking apart. That initial breathless, scary moment when you're getting ready to break through. I think that it's changing the way that our frequency for a time, and it's tuning us to a different reality that's, like Sid said, always present, but not able to be perceived because we're not tuned to that.
Like we were talking, you can't play music with somebody if you don't know how to play an instrument.
But it's like saying,
the language is there, the songs are still there, but you can't participate unless you go through this
right
initiation.
But it's like saying that my car isn't a car because we can't see it right now. I know my car is here. It's in the driveway. around the corner of the house right
But
now.
there's no car because we don't know. We don't see it.
That's
Right.
right. It's unobserved.
Right. So, but we know it's there, right? I can get up and walk out and go get in the car right now. And I think that's what DMT is like a facilitator to change our frequency so that we are actually perceiving a place. And so then if that is true and it is a place, that stands to reason that there is something or someone in that place. It's not just empty nothing. Obviously, we've all been there.
No, I
right?
think it's a fucking Tokyo.
It's poppin'.
I think it's
Right.
you hear there and go there and and there needs traffic officers and like I think it's bumping. Honestly,
Also, like think about like literal ceremonies and rituals where they give the medicine and the medicine is an actual entity. That's a whole thing that we're not even discussing.
or they have a name.
Yeah, there's
like
a literally
tobacco.
grandfather tobacco,
Yeah.
and you know
They have their respect.
exactly.
Grandmother Aya.
So it's an entity, and the entity in itself contains whatever that thing is, whatever the entity is, and the dynamics of it and the structure of it. And so it's like making love with it. Like you're combining forces, and you're allowed to see something that nobody else can see because you're with it. You're mixing with it. And when you're not mixing with it, it's not that it doesn't exist. It's just you're not mixing with it at that moment.
And if you like take that thought even further and apply as above, so below to what you just said, it's the same with us. That dimension you're talking about, whatever it is contained in that entity, right? And then you're taking it in. Well, it's the same with us. Wherever we're going is inside us already, and we're becoming it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I have a question about like newness, like anything that hasn't existed. I think there is none. I think whatever is to be built, there is a version that's already been built in that way that you're explaining. If I have an idea of a new app or a new thing that I want to make that I don't see is there is a certain level of it already existing.
Like you're pulling it in from somewhere.
That's what my tattoo is. That's the Kabbalah, what you're describing right now. That's like the top sphere on the Kabbalah is like the monad. It's like everything and nothing at the same time, all potentiality, anything that's ever existed, going to exist or has been, all that is in a dot, a one pinpoint that isn't even there, that's there everywhere all the time. And then as it passes through the different spheres on the tree, it becomes more itself as it comes down till it hits the bottom, which is Malkuth, which is like physical
like the
reality.
root chakra.
So it's like, it's a graphic representation of a thought before a thought is a thought, becoming a thought, becoming reality.
The process of what it.
So you're right. Everything that is in front of us right now has always existed.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Exactly. Always has been, always will be, and nothing is new.
But this is exactly why it's so important for somebody who is creative, artists out there, to do their craft, because whatever that already existing information is there, when you pull it through, it becomes your interpretation of that already existing information.
Or it's a recall to something that's ancient. That's what I really love.
That's why it's the
It's a
ancient
dig
thing.
up.
You
Yeah.
guys all need to watch. I watched it the other night. There's a new documentary on Netflix, the Cave of Bones.
Oof, I love a cave.
It's all about how we think we know so much about our history and stuff. It goes back way further. This cave is discovered in South Africa. The bones they found are 250,000 years old, and they're in between human and
They're
like
proving
ape.
Graham Hancock, right?
And they're finding, one of the things they found is they thought, because they had very, very, very small brains and all this, but they found them inside these caves that took some getting, like bigger people can't get to it. You have to go down through this stuff, and they found burial grounds. They buried their dead, which they never thought until now that pre-human had the brain capacity to think and do that. And now they're they keep discovering these things that are like, we go
breaking the timeline.
We go back way, way further, and the history of us and our ancestors goes way further than anybody thought.
As a kid learning history, I accepted all the stories with open hearts, no judgment. I believe pretty much anything. And it's like, I feel like I could feel ignorant, but I am like, really, give me a religion. I feel like that could have been true, or literally anything. But as far as the timeline, I could never
get behind that.
I could never grasp who said, why.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Were you there?
Who wrote that?
Yeah.
Where did that come
Who's
from?
To say,
and a lot of the stuff they
honestly.
made because they made one discovery somewhere, like, oh, okay, this is how it is. It's like, there's so much that's unexplored,
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
still
what's
happening all the time.
Talking about the ancient stuff, though, like epigenetics says that going back to whatever the first humans were on the planet, in our DNA is contained all of the experience of every human being that's ever had an experience of life on planet Earth. It's in us. So like my family tree, going back to the beginning of my family tree, I have all that experience and trauma and happiness and
Well, just like even your own life, you've got all that, but you can't recall all of it right now.
His ancestors back in the day feel yours. Imagine that. Like,
right.
feeling the future.
Yeah, the line goes both ways.
I do have a question, because this has always been, I have no idea. I definitely believe in like the sense of ancestry and our physical bodies. Like I was talking to you about our physical bodies changing because of our ancestors and what they did to gather and whatever. But also, what about spirits? I think there's a 2-lane street here, because I think I also have a spirit of a fucking Viking, and I don't have the body of a Viking. Like you could be a spirit of a completely different other ancestral cultural background, and that brings you somewhere else.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You contain all of the experience and
there was more than one
memory, because it's encoded in your literal
physically and through mind.
Through DNA.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so like your ancestors, like from me, like back to your, my mom and whatever, but then the further back you go, the deeper that ancestry goes, and you could have been however many things.
You know what's sad? It's like, I don't really care about any form of like the type of technology we're doing right now. As not me, but like generally people are exploring. Like, if we couldn't just explore this, that's so interesting, and I don't think we'll ever know the full discovery of it all. Like, we should be spending our times doing that. Like, that's so much more interesting to me.
Do you want to know a really fucked up part of it? It's illegal to explore your own consciousness in most places.
Well, I understand why, probably, because they're like, fucking stop.
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
Now you're
Girl.
asking too many
Fucked up that
questions.
is, like,
Yeah.
I can't in my I'm have an outside entity telling me what I can do with my mind.
Yeah, because it's gonna open up questions that they can't answer,
Or
that they're
scares them.
Maybe
Well,
they know, but they don't know how
yes.
to digest, because they also don't have expanded minds. So it's just fear, scary.
But also
Yeah.
power. People know and don't want to share things because then they've got an upper hand. We forget that people can be evil,
Or they're doing it all on purpose, and they're feeding on our fear like a brunch.
It should just be childlike. It should just be like curiosity,
just all get
like
along.
a little kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Sid, we have to take you to the airport.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Let's go.
I hate
know.
it. I don't want you to go home, young lady.
Well,
That's
she's
enough.
got to take care of her baby.
That's enough. Go get your son and bring him back.
Come back home with the
That's
baby.
right. You're grounded.
You're crowded. Go to your room with Jasper.
This has
here.
been a really great
Here.
trip, Sid. I
Yeah.
had so much fun. We packed a ton of stuff in.
We did.
And
I'm
you're
glad I'm
the
here
best.
now.
I know.
Getting all woo woo.
Everybody, we love you guys.
Go check out Wynn and all of their new music. They've got Pool Day out on YouTube. Look it up, like pool as in swimming pool. That was awesome.
And wherever else.
And wherever else.
Apple, Spotify.
Yeah.
Isn't Jasper in Pool Day?
He's in Pool Day, and he's also, I'm pretty sure he's in Young Folks too.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
shit.
so check it out. Check out our daughter and her husband doing their thing. Also check out Swim. Swim is a
With 2 M's.
fantastic. That's right. SWIMM. And check them out and their dates. Check out Sego. We love Sego. We support Sego.
And check out No Simple Road.
That's right.
Appearing live at Ophia's Electric Soapbox on August 30th.
Tickets are
Andy
going
Frasco.
fast.
World Saving Podcast. Only a few tickets left. Go to www.nosimpleroad.com. Get yourself some merch. Get a tarot reading by Mel and I. And
this week,
leave us a review on
why
Apple
don't you
Podcasts.
have a great conversation with your parent if you can?
Yeah. Or if you can't, you can still like talk to yourself.
Have a great
About
conversation
them.
with somebody.
Yeah. We love you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Peace.
But it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A=A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
This is the story of Whitney Houston,
This is the story of Kurt Cobain,
of George Michael, of Otis Redding, of Amy Winehouse, of Michael Hutchence, Bob Marley. This is the story of Prince,
It's a new podcast series.
about how they died, why they died, and why we're still talking about them so long after.
It's like nothing you've ever heard before.
It's storytelling.
But it's more than that, because rock stars,
They tell us how we feel. They change our mood,
they change the clothes we wear, the people we hang out with.
the way we remember things.
It's them who give us those ludicrous moments, the ones where you...
Jumping around, singing your heart out, feeling understood.
And it's those moments we'll help you remember, the ones you're thinking about right now.
That feeling
That feeling.
is coming soon from Crowd Network.
Just search for Death of a Rock Star on your podcast app.
And subscribe now.